everyone. I'm Lucy, I'm from Lancaster University, and I am very grateful to be here at my first ALN conference on a sponsored place today. Today, I'm going to be speaking about how academic libraries can work to open the doors from day one by using the Freshers' Fair as an outreach opportunity. I'm going to try and rattle through why you'd want to be there, how to make the most of it on a budget, and how it worked out for us. To start with a bit of context, what do I mean when I say the Freshers' Fair? Many campuses have some sort of equivalent, but at Lancaster, this is our largest Welcome Week event, run by our Students' Union to showcase campus life. The pictures here are from last year's event, which was attended by almost 9,000 new starters, both undergraduate and postgraduate. As you can see, the event is absolutely packed. It's filled with stalls, which are recruiting for student societies, businesses offering freebies, and different campus services being advertised. When I was an undergraduate coming to Lancaster University, this was the event. It was a chance to stock up on freebies, but more importantly, to get a flavour of the communities and social opportunities that existed outside my academic course. 3 years later, I returned to the fair as a postgraduate. I considered myself pretty familiar with what Lancaster had to offer at that point, but still not above the free pens. But viewing that as a Lancaster veteran, I found the library's absence both glaring and surprising. It formed such a huge part of my time as an undergraduate, so where was the library? Well, I managed to get myself employed here, and to everyone's delight, I am sure I never really stopped asking, where was our table at the Freshers' Fair? So what was my pitch? Why should we get a stand at the Freshers' Fair? I would argue that most students exist somewhere along that spectrum there, from the library lovers and the library curious to the library cautious and the library skeptics, the students who don't picture themselves using the library at all. In Welcome Week, we're usually able to reach the more library inclined students. These are the people who sign up for our library tours, they're booking appointments with our librarians, they turn up to our events and they follow us on social media. But traditionally, it's a bit more of a struggle to reach the more skeptical side, particularly through all the noise and hubbub of the first term of university. These students are less likely to seek us out and so won't know what support we offer when it comes time for them to need it. So if they aren't coming to us, we need to meet them where they are, and the earlier the better. So enter the Freshers' Fair. It's also a chance for us to challenge preconceptions of academic libraries. Our chance to debunk the idea that the library is a silent building stuffed with textbooks with maybe a computer in it. Our students' ideas of what a higher education library will be like tend to be as varied as their own experiences. Some of them will be coming from schools without affiliated libraries, while others may have had opportunities to use university resources before. Either way, we can't presume that our new students know everything that we offer, particularly when the library role continues to evolve and we have more and more diverse offerings each year. Where the Freshers' Fair is a more socially focused event, it's also an opportunity for us to promote what we offer that's beyond the books and showcase all of our leisure resources, clubs, activities and events that might defy this more stereotypical academic mould. By promoting here, we can reach more students who would be interested in what we're offering, but who might not think to look to the library for things like board games, Stitch Club, or access to streaming services. Additionally, we can build a relationship that extends beyond Welcome Week. In person, we can make a positive first impression, work to dispel some of their apprehensions they might have, and to excite and embolden students to continue to engage with us at a pace that works for them. That might be downloading the Libby app there and then, or a few weeks later dropping in because they remembered that we said we had cookbooks, or somebody heard about the free hot chocolate. It's a chance for us to build their confidence to engage with us, and hopefully try and move them a little bit along the spectrum there. The final part of my pitch, knowing the strain on budget at the time, is I promised I wouldn't ask anyone for any money. And between these different compelling arguments, and with the help of the Library Welcome Week Planning Committee, we got our table secured at the fair for 2024. We were able to get our foot in the door, so how to use it. This here was our stall at our very first Freshers' Fair, and everything that we did to make the most of it. To start with the budget, we wanted to stand out but without a big cost. So we repurposed items as much as possible and DIY'd the rest. The posters and the book bunting I made in-house, and our freebies were leftover promotional items. We were staffed by a very generous rotating team of volunteers of either staff or ambassadors. The only purchase made was the chocolates that we gave away, but as someone else purchased them on my behalf and I didn't ask them, I think I technically kept to my promise. The most important advice I would have for anyone looking to do something similar is to use your students. To be effective at a fair like this, you need to know your audience and you need to know what your competition's doing. And your student attendees are your best source of intel for this. We cheated a little bit here because I'd spent my postgraduate visits snooping on the library's behalf. But learn as much as you can from your students' experiences. What worked for them, what made them engage, and what put them off. Because we had this knowledge, we knew that you only have a brief few moments to interact with each student. So we knew we wouldn't be able to promote everything that the library is offering. As the fair has a less academic focus, we tried to focus on promoting our leisure resources and highlighting the specific advantages to the students, such as potential cost savings, where they may be subscribing to a service that we're already offering them for free. I'd also seen that the stores with the best engagement all consistently ran some kind of game. With everyone offering freebies, stores where you had to earn or win them proved a lot more enticing than the prospect of another conversation. To use this, I built us a lucky dip. It was just coffee stirrers with paint on the ends in a decorated cardboard box. Absolutely nothing fancy, but foolproof and very easy for us to run. To play, the students had to follow us on social media, which allowed us to meet that last point of engaging students in the moment. Lots of stalls give out information to take away, leaflets and flyers and business cards, but unfortunately, paper handouts were more often recycled than they were followed up with. Getting students to engage with our social media there and then saw a greater percentage of follow through than if we relied on them to remember to do yet another thing in that first week of uni. It meant that the content we were sharing for our new starters on our social media channels was hitting its intended demographic. This included the Freshers Fair roundup post we did, recapping everything we'd covered at our stall to reinforce and remind anyone that might have forgotten about what we'd covered, with the links to download or access anything they needed. This also secured them as an audience for our future content that we were going to produce, which has a much broader focus beyond Welcome Week. By our second year, we made a couple of improvements to our stall, a few tweaks to make it a bit more accessible and inclusive. I made a map to everything that we were promoting in the library, so we could direct students to the collections they were interested in and to boost their confidence when they were first entering the library to explore and find the things we were talking about in the fair. We were also given a few small budget, so we made a couple of upgrades. We had a new and improved Lucky Dip, which was still a cardboard box, but this time it looked like a very fancy book. And we also had some custom prizes. So here, a member of library staff with access to a laser cutter, engraved quotes about famous libraries onto pencils, which were the top prize and were very coveted by the students. The final change we made was to include more ways to play our Lucky Dip. In the first year, we'd focused on just Instagram and our social media, but not all students have Instagram or use it. So from that feedback, we included the option to subscribe to our e-newsletter, so via email. We knew every student had an email address, they'd just been given one, so no excuses there. And it was a little bit more accessible and fair for everyone to access. Now, the really important bit is, how did we do? The feedback from our volunteers and our students was overwhelmingly positive, and a lot of the students we met at the Freshers' Fair that day went on to become library regulars and very familiar faces to everyone who worked there. In terms of metrics and how we can actually measure this success, we can track this impact across 3 different areas. The first, as you would expect, is across the social media following. So in that first year, we managed to increase our number of Instagram followers by 10% from sort of the 2 days before the fair to 2 days later. And we managed to build on that the next year by boosting it a further 13%. The year we started promoting the newsletter, we doubled our subscriptions. So that would be all new students who are accessing and getting all of our information that we're putting out there to our students. The second measure or area we saw affected was in collection awareness and usage. So this graph here is from Libby, which is the reading app. It was relatively new to us and it hadn't seen too much promotion when we started to promote it. The massive 2 spikes there are the first 2 years after our Freshers' Fair attendance. That tracks the number of unique users on Libby. So we saw a really great increase in engagement and awareness of this new resource. We saw a similar spike in usage that was higher than average rate for the rest of our leisure collections we were promoting. So leisure reading, our Feel Good Hub, our board games usage, we saw a lot more circulation and usage when we checked the data. The final way we saw an impact was in the increased attendance in library events across the board. So this included our regular weekly events. So we run a colouring in cafe on a Wednesday. We started to see a big influx of people who said they'd heard about us at the fair. Same goes for our board game night, our Stitch Club, and those events that we run regularly throughout the year. Specifically, we did see a big boost in our Welcome Week programming. So this very top one is the winners of our Race Across the Library event. I think we had 12 teams attend us last year. And I think the majority of the students said they'd heard about it from the Freshers' Fair rather than any of the other avenues we'd been promoting it through. And the very last point was we run a readers speed friending event, which is like speed dating for getting to know other students who are interested in making friends with bookish students. This last year, we had 65 attendees, which more than doubled anything we'd had previous years. It was a really good event. They stayed for the full 2 hours, a lot of people getting to know each other, and you could really feel just the increased engagement and people feeling a lot more confident to come into the library. So thank you very much. If anyone is interested in seeing what we end up doing at the Freshers' Fair this coming year, if you give us a follow on the Instagram, we'll be posting a roundup post. And I've put my contact detail on there, so we've got time for questions now. But if anyone has anything further they'd like to ask me about, please feel free to contact.